Let's talk about what just went down, because the Desiree Jenkins situation just took a wild turn. After years of radio silence, she suddenly decided to reach out to Desiree, yes, the same man she's been blocking and shutting out, through a long-winded text message. This wasn't just a "how are you" kind of text either. She went full PR mode, suggesting that they could co-parent again and even said Deshaun could call both her and his biological mom's mom. That alone had people speechless. The timing? A little too perfect. Right when Desiree gains strong public support, legal traction, and finally has a voice in the custody battle, here comes Desiree, suddenly playing the role of the reasonable one. But anyone paying attention could see right through it. This wasn't a kind gesture. It was a last-ditch effort to shift the narrative. And Desiree wasn't about to let it slide. She posted the text online, putting everything in the open and refusing to let Desiree rewrite history again. The public saw it for what it was, a strategic move, not a sincere one. Now that the message is out, Desiree scrambling. J.E., her partner, is doing damage control online, trying to defend her, but it's not working. The damage is already done. Desiree is standing her ground and preparing to fight for full custody. Then came the Facebook meltdown, or at least what looked like one. Desiree went live, emotional, seemingly broken, but when you actually listened to what she said, it felt way too rehearsed. Like it wasn't about expressing pain, it was about performing it. Carefully curated chaos to tug at heartstrings and flip public opinion. She quickly blamed Desiree, accusing him of walking out, leaving her with all the responsibilities, acting like she's been the sole soldier in the war of parenting. She even dropped the bombshell that he was the reason Desiree missed visitation. This, from the same woman who's been turning Desiree away at the door, calling the police on her, refusing phone calls and blocking any contact. Now she wants everyone to believe she was just trying to make peace?
Are we going to see a single Stephanie Jenkins? Because that's what it's looking like. According to sources, Stephanie has taken to Facebook and she has crashed out. She has aired out all her dirty laundry. Supposedly, she is stating that as soon as they went viral, Drew mentally checked out, which I can see because that's a lot. You are under a microscope when you go viral and everybody is going to criticize you for every little thing. Supposedly, there were rumors that he has cheated because he was never home. He was always supposedly working DoorDash, but where was the money to show for it? Supposedly, he's the reason that they had to dip out on their cats and they have to move motels every so often because he is not a leader, he is not a provider, he is not the father figure husband that they need in that home. Stephanie even went as far as to say that, his relationship with the Lord is not existent or it's wishy-washy, and she thinks that might have a lot to do with it as well. And coming from someone that knows, that has a lot to do with it. She talks about how she was encouraging Deshaun to have a relationship with his mother and she wanted baby daddy hubby to allow that to happen, but then she goes on to say that it's not fair that Deshaun has that mom who is wanting to love him and give him gifts when her daughters don't have that same ability because their dad is a pedophile and in jail. Stephanie, that's the consequences of your actions, sister. It was a bombshell.
She tried to paint herself as the mediator, the one who encouraged everyone to be mature and co-parent. But the receipts say otherwise. The live streams, the old posts where she called Desiree unstable, unfit, even accused her of being on drugs. The woman who said Deshaun wasn't going anywhere is now trying to act like she was pushing for unity this whole time. Nobody's buying it. Then, she said too much. In trying to defend her actions, she accidentally told on herself. She admitted that part of the reason she didn't want Desiree around was because she didn't want her daughters to feel confused about why their stepbrother had a mom who showed up, loved him publicly, spoiled him, and was fully present, while their own father was in prison and totally absent. That was the crack in the mask. Because that confession wasn't about protecting anyone's well-being, it was about controlling the optics. She didn't want to explain to her daughters why they were missing something that Deshaun had. Instead of teaching them that different kids have different stories, she decided to erase Desiree entirely so no one would have to ask uncomfortable questions. Not because Desiree was dangerous, but because her presence exposed Desiree's own insecurities, her own decisions, and her unwillingness to be honest. Then came the pivot. She tried softening the story again, this time by shifting attention to J.E. She revealed he's on the spectrum, said he doesn't have much support and sees her as his only family. She positioned herself as this selfless, loyal woman who stuck around for someone society had abandoned.
Hey, Drew Jenkins, it's so funny that you say that you got to choose who you wanted to live with, so therefore Deshaun's going to be able to pick who he wanted to live with. And I think it's really funny that your baby mama's now on Facebook saying, oh, Drew didn't really get the support he needed growing up. So don't you think if you did get to pick and the judge did listen to you, because now we're complaining about the support we didn't get. It's real interesting now though, that we've gone all the way to blaming a dead man for Drew's issues. And speculated autism. And now everybody in that family's got autism. Unfortunately, I hope Desiree's not holding her breath on getting her visit on Sunday, because not only is it Father's Day, which is a cop-out for why they won't meet up, but also the 28 days so they can't establish residency. Yeah, that's coming up. I think it's really funny. Somebody who has to leave where they're staying, you have to leave every 28 days by law, so you can't establish residency. And you think for anybody that's a stable environment. I don't think you know what stable means.
But people saw through that too. She was using his diagnosis like a shield, hoping for pity points, masking her own motivations in the name of compassion. This isn't the first time she's done this either. People remembered how she once claimed her toddler might have autism, diagnosing him on social media instead of taking him to a professional. That raised more than a few eyebrows. She could have taken the housing offer and given her kids some stability. But she didn't. She chose Drew instead. Chose to stay in a motel, unemployed, dragging her children through constant chaos rather than accepting something better for them. And while she was making those choices, she was also cutting Desiree out of her son's life. 3 whole years of blocking, ignoring, and keeping the door quite literally closed in Desiree's face. She went out of her way to paint Desiree as unstable, even dangerous, all to keep control. That's not sacrifice. That's not strength. And it sure as hell isn't motherhood. Then Drew jumped in. He got on TikTok, trying to play damage control. He said Stephanie was a good mom, that she cooks, cleans, creates content, and begged people to stop coming for her. According to him, if anyone deserves blame, it's him. He was practically volunteering to be the villain so Stephanie could look like the misunderstood, exhausted supermom trying to hold everything together. It was textbook manipulation. He even added in his caption, if you want to hate anyone, hate me, like we're all supposed to forget everything that's happened.
So Drew from the Resilient Jenkins is so shy. He's talking about how hard it's been for him to really come out of his shell, how he's not able to talk in front of the camera. In your lives, you're so talkative. Maybe it's the math, but yeah, you are very, very talkative. He also went and he posted this on his TikTok. He treats TikTok like it's Facebook. It's kind of comical. But he posted how he wants people to leave Brittany alone. Okay, not Brittany, but leave Stephanie Jenkins alone because she's being bullied by people and she doesn't deserve any of the hate, is what Drew Jenkins is saying. I think he's in trouble. I think there is trouble in paradise and he is fighting for his mathematician friend because, you know, they love math. Read between the numbers. I don't know, but what do you think? I think it screams the desperation, like, please don't leave me.
But let's clear one thing up. Nobody's dragging Stephanie because she's broke. Being homeless isn't the scandal. It's the lies. It's the years of keeping Desiree out of her child's life, the fake breakdowns online, the live streams laced with gaslighting, and the way she's teaching her kids that cutting people out and living in chaos is just normal. That's the issue. Drew tried to spin the narrative, but the internet? We remember everything, the deleted posts, the receipts, the timelines. This wasn't an act of protection, it was performance, pure and simple. And then came the twist. Out of nowhere, Stephanie reached out to Desiree.
You know what? I wasn't going to make any more videos about the subject, but like y'all are really sending me. So now the topic is changing. Now the goalpost is being moved again because Desiree has came up here swinging, defending herself, doing what she needs to do to get her child back legally. And now y'all are upset and mad because she's telling her side of the story. Y'all are still defending Stephanie. Like, there was a conversation the other day because Desiree was reading out the message that Stephanie sent her. And people was like, oh, basically Desiree needs to keep this to herself and that's not right. And the legal this and legal that. No. Y'all sat up here and let this white lady trash this black woman's online reputation and reputation as a mother. Not only that, she was bashing this woman's reputation with her literal own son in her house. Like, You don't get to pick how someone reacts to disrespect and being antagonized. You don't get to choose how they respond, when they respond, or why they respond. A lot of y'all up here now is feeling sympathy for Stephanie over a Facebook post, but baby, that's called manipulation. That post barely had anything to do with Deshaun, and had everything to do with her, Drew, and her kids. Because at the end of the day, this lady literally put basically how it upsets her that her kids are upset because Deshaun potentially has a parent that cares. Well, not potentially. Deshaun has a parent that cares, that wants to do stuff for him, wants to buy stuff for him, want to take him out and experience life and do things. Oh, well, my kids feel some type of way because they don't have that. Well, you had your children by a sexual offender who touched his mom, and you also low-key helped to lure victims to him. You chose that. Just like you chose Drew. You knew exactly who you was choosing before you chose him, and then went and had kids with him. You got poor pussy management, and that's on you. That's not on Desiree. So you're sitting here, you're mad because Deshaun has a mother that cares about him and wants to do stuff for him, and you don't do the same for your kids because you're too busy doing stuff for Drew. And Drew is too busy not doing stuff for you, your kids, or his kids, including the one that lives in his house. Now you want to be upset and feel some type of way. Like, no, you chose this. And she's just trying to save face, y'all. She's being manipulative. That woman really don't give a fuck. Y'all got that backup page deleted, and now she's feeling a little bit, oh, they might be coming for the main page too. And really, this is her only source of income, because what she wants to do is sit at home on her ass and not work or take care of them kids for real. That's what she wants. No ifs, and or buts about it. It's really that simple. So y'all want to get up here mad because Desiree, first off, this bitch pretty much said in other posts, nobody batted an eye when she said, that's my son and he's not going anywhere. I took care of him. Where was his mother? Nobody blinked once, right? It wasn't that deep. So when Desiree comes and reads the message that Stephanie sent her, oh, now Desiree needs to be quiet. Now Desiree needs to let the court system work, and this is wrong, and Deshaun can read, and he can this, and he can. I would hope he'd be able to read at 9 years old. I hope he could. The fuck? I mean, y'all was saying this as if that child could not read this entire time and could not hear this woman trashing his mother for years. So now it's a concern, or he can read and he'll see this online. Well, you know what he'll see? Stephanie for who she is. And you know what he'll see? His mother fighting tooth and nail, with proof that she's been fighting tooth and nail to get her child away from this woman that leaves marks and bruises on not only Deshaun, her own two oldest children, and her own two youngest children. Well, the baby is forever covered up, so I won't say that. But the children we could see or can see have random ass bruises always around the same area, though, on everybody. I love just how the narrative switched when it comes to a...
No apology, no actual remorse, just a carefully crafted text message, timed perfectly now that she's under pressure and Desiree has public and legal support. The message was all about being open to co-parenting, about wanting to support a reconnection between Desiree and her son. She even went as far as suggesting the boy could call both of them a mom, and that she could be the contact point to start the process. But Desiree wasn't fooled for a second. Where was that energy when she was standing outside their apartment crying? When her messages were left on read? When police were called just because she wanted to see her child? Stephanie only became the bigger person when she had something to lose. It was a last-ditch attempt to clean up the mess with fake peace offerings. Desiree saw right through it. She posted the text for everyone to see because she wasn't going to let Stephanie rewrite history. Not again. And now, it's no longer just messy parenting. This is legal. Desiree isn't coming alone anymore. She has a full legal team. Real attorneys. Real filings. And they're going after full custody. Not weekends, not visits, full, permanent custody. Because what's at stake here is more than just parental disagreements. There are documented videos, live streams, screenshots, evidence that shows not just poor judgment, but neglect, chaos, and manipulation. There are videos of their kids in unstable situations, recordings of Stephanie laughing off the idea of Desiree getting custody, posts that show both her and Drew treating the entire thing like entertainment. The court isn't looking at Drew like he's just standing on the sidelines anymore. Nope, they've made it official, he's involved. Not just silently watching, but actually backing Stephanie's actions, defending her behavior online, and now he's facing legal consequences for it too. So guess what that means? Legal fees. And who's expected to cover them? Stephanie. The same Stephanie who's been crying broke, who can't afford stability for the kids, now has to pull cash out of thin air to help Drew lawyer up. Money that could have gone toward getting her children into a safer space is now being funneled into protecting a man who added fuel to this whole mess. Everything they tried to pretend didn't happen? It's now stamped, dated, and entered into the official court record. Every shady live, every public excuse, all of it. Stephanie thought she had one more card to play, sympathy. She really believed that a decently worded message, a soft little reach out, and a few TikToks from Drew saying blame me would smooth things over, that she could shift the mood, act remorseful, and everyone would magically forget how deep this situation goes. She thought people would once again let her reshape the storyline. But Desiree didn't take the bait. She stayed steady. She saw it for what it was, damage control in disguise. That co-parenting message? Desiree didn't pretend it was anything but strategic. She didn't accept the olive branch, she posted it. She exposed the timing. She reminded everyone how, for years, Stephanie ignored her, blocked her, and even called the cops when she tried to visit her son. And now, suddenly, when legal heat turns up, she's all about being cooperative? Desiree's not playing along anymore, and the people watching are starting to catch on. The real narrative is finally being revealed. People are seeing how long Stephanie steered the story, how Drew acted like her echo, and how Desiree was villainized just for wanting her son back. This isn't about drama anymore. It's about a child. A little boy who's been bounced between adults making selfish, emotional choices. And while Stephanie tried to rebrand herself as misunderstood and Drew offered himself up as the sacrificial lamb, Desiree held the line. She didn't scream, she didn't curse, she stood firm. Because for her, this fight was never about pride. It was always about Deshawn. Now it's going to court, and this time, Desiree's not coming in empty-handed. She's backed by a legal team. Lawyers who know how to fight, not on social media, but in the courtroom. They're going after full custody. Not visits, not shared weekends, full parental rights. Because this isn't just a family disagreement anymore. There's video evidence, live streams where Stephanie and Drew make jokes, unstable environments, and years of emotional damage. And now, it's not just Stephanie's parenting on the line. Drew's involvement is under review too. So here's where we're at. Stephanie tried to play the sympathy angle, tried to push Drew forward as the fall guy, and hoped people would move on. But the internet didn't forget. And the court definitely won't either. What do you think? Will Desiree finally get full custody of her son? Or will Stephanie manage to slip through one more time? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, and stay tuned, because this isn't just messy anymore, it's official.